Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm going to be doing my Christmas nails, and for this set, I decided to build up the nails with acrylic because I was running low on my builder gel, and I didn't think I would have enough to build all of my nails up, so I'm using the Melody Susie clear acrylic and their monomer, and I'm using this size 12 acrylic brush from Model 1s. I don't really know like if this is actually a Kolinsky brush or not. I think on Amazon it said it was, but I don't really know if it actually is or not. I don't really know how to tell the difference really either, I don't think. Just because I don't use acrylic, so I don't really know the differences between like a Kolinsky brush and a synthetic brush. But anyhow, so I'm just going in and doing building the nail with acrylic. I think I only show this one nail because it was taking me a while to get the nails done. I also didn't show the 3 that I did before this because I was like, I don't know how well this is going to go, and I don't really know if I want to show myself using the acrylic because, like I said, I don't use acrylic. I did learn how to do acrylic in cosmetology school, but we didn't really spend very much time on doing nails either, so my acrylic skills are not the greatest, but I was just, trying it, seeing if I could get a nail built up and everything. And I think it went pretty well. I really didn't have any issues with, like, my beads being too runny and having to chase them all over the nail. I also wasn't having issues with them being too dry. Usually my problem is I make my beads too runny, but I was doing a pretty good job when I was sculpting this set. Also, I feel like Melody Susie is a really good brand acrylic. I've only ever used the Kiss acrylic, which, if you've ever used that, it's not really the greatest. And I know that brush also isn't the greatest either. And I've also used CND, which is what we used in cosmetology school. And I honestly didn't really care for that acrylic either. But I do really like this Melody Susie one. I feel like it's pretty easy to use. It does say it's fast drying. I don't know like how fast drying is really supposed to be, but I do feel like you get enough time to work with it and smooth it all out and get your bead like sculpted out the way it needs to be without it drying up on you too fast and you not having enough time. But it's not so slow that you're just sitting there messing with it and it's running all over and you're waiting for it to harden up and stay in place. So I feel like Melody Susie is a really good like in between there. It does dry fast enough, but not too fast. I feel like this is a good acrylic for a beginner because even though I'm technically not a beginner when it comes to acrylic, I don't consider myself a pro with it because I don't use it. I'm not the best with it either. So I feel like if you are a beginner, this Melody Susie acrylic would be a really good acrylic for you to try out. As you can see, I don't do like a 1 bead method, 2 bead method, 3 bead method. I use as many beads as I need to get this nail built up properly and to get the proper structure on it. And I just kind of mess around with it until it is the way I need it to be a structurally sound nail to actually hold up and last and not, break off or break in half. And I'm not really explaining anything that I'm doing here because I was kind of doubting myself and feeling like this was going to end up really bad, and I didn't want to tell you guys my technique or like what I was doing and how I was doing it, and it ended up being super bad, and then you guys go and do what I did and it like not work out very well for you guys. So I just kind of decided to film this so you could see like what I was doing, but without explaining it, so I could kind of figure out like what I was doing and how I was doing things, so that if I do ever make a video in the future, I can use what I learned from this experience in that video, and like really give you guys an in-depth like tutorial on how to do acrylic. And I feel like after doing this set and doing all 10 of my nails, like I feel more confident in being able to give you guys a tutorial on how to do acrylic. So maybe I will do an acrylic tutorial sometime in the future. I don't know, we'll see about that. But after I got all of the nails built up, I did go ahead and file, shape, and buff all off camera. I usually do that anyhow, even if I do show you guys me building up the nails. But after I was finished with all of that, I'm just taking my rhinestone glue, my squeeze rhinestone glue from Nail Couture, and placing that on the underside of this nail, because I am going to do like the icicle nail on here. So for this, you want to take like a thicker type of gel, whether it's like a rhinestone glue or a builder gel or something. You definitely want some sort of thicker gel that's not going to level out super quickly like a top coat or a base coat would. And then you want to take a piece of plastic wrap and just scrunch that in there with like a dotting tool or your cuticle pusher or something, and then cure that for 60 seconds and then pull that off. It should pull off easily, but for some reason with this rhinestone glue, I was having a hard time pulling the plastic wrap off of the nail. It like did not want to come off, but usually it does come off super easily. And then that is how you do the icicle nails. And then because I did the icicle nails on the ring and the pointer nails, I didn't want to leave that nail completely clear and you see my nail bed area. So I did decide to do a little ombre. I'm using Nightmare Fuel from Ball Pit, and I'm just applying that to the nail bed area and then bringing that down and ombreing it with my ombre brush. And then I started out with 2 layers of this, and I cured each layer for 60 seconds because I felt like 2 layers was good, but I was also kind of feeling like I needed a 3rd layer. But I wanted to wait and see how the rest of the nails looked, because I was painting the entire nail of those with the Nightmare Fuel, and I wanted to see like what 2 coats looked like on those before deciding if I wanted to do a 3rd coat on the ombre nails, because I wanted it to match up and be even. I did end up doing 3 coats on all the nails with this Nightmare Fuel, and I did cure each coat for 60 seconds. Also, I know this video is going super fast. I do have it sped up quite a bit because this is a pretty long video. I had a lot of footage. I did cut out a lot of stuff, but it is still pretty long. So to shorten it down a little bit, I did speed it up. So it's like going super fast. I hope it's not too fast to where you guys can't tell what's going on. But it's going so fast for me to be able to keep up and do this voiceover. But anyhow, so yeah, just painting all of the nails with this, doing that ombre on those 2 nails. And as you can see, I like to do my 4 fingers all together, and then I do my thumb separately. I always do my thumb separately, and I always recommend to do your thumb separately, because if you put your hand just straight in to the lamp, your thumb is on that curve and or like sideways, and sometimes the sides don't cure properly when your thumb is in there like that. So I always say do your thumb separately and have it sit normally like the rest of your fingers would. That way you can get a full proper cure on your thumb. right here, what I'm doing is mixing up a color for the skull that I'm about to paint on my middle nail. I decided to go with like a creepy, spooky type of Christmas theme because, as I've stated in previous videos, I don't like Christmas. I don't like, I'm just not into it. And usually when I do my winter Christmas set, I do focus more on like the winter aspect, and I usually do like some sort of icy, wintry blue kind of winter wonderland type of set. And I do like basically the same thing every year when I do it too. But I wanted to do something a little bit different this year, and I've always said for years that I feel like there should be more like horror Christmas type of stuff. Like I want to see like horror, like Christmas haunted houses and like more horror Christmas movies. That's just me. I know like that's not the common thing, and like not a lot of people would like that, but like for those of us that don't like Christmas, or we are like into the more spooky type of things, I think that would be really fun to see. And I have noticed there have been a lot more like horror Christmas type of stuff, or like spooky Christmas stuff coming out within the last recent years, so that's been making me really happy. But I decided to go with that kind of theme for this nail set because I thought it would be fun and different, and I feel like I would like the Christmas set a lot more if it was a little more on the spooky horror side. So that is what I'm doing. On this middle nail, I am painting on a skull. It will have a Santa hat on, so it'll be like Santa is a skeleton or something like that. Again, I'm not going to like explain everything that I'm doing just because, like I said, this video is going so fast. Also, there's a lot going on, and I feel like there's just too much for me to sit here and explain. I feel like this is a set that's better if you just watch what I'm doing and kind of see what I'm doing. I will pop in every now and then to kind of tell you what I'm doing and maybe explain a little bit. But for the most part, I think I'm just going to let it play out. Right here, I'm just trying to get the basic outline of the skull done, and then I fill it in. I know it looks really funky right now, but trust me, in the end, it definitely looks like a skull. I do have reference pictures off to the side. I just went on Pinterest and typed in, like, creepy Christmas, and a bunch of different little pictures came up that I was using to get some different references on and try and figure out what I was doing for this set. I do show myself doing my left hand a little bit. I think I only show me doing the skull on my left hand. And I was going to go back and forth and show you more of me doing my left hand, but this set took a long time, and you're gonna see I'm super out of frame and like out of focus a lot throughout this video, because I was so focused on what I was doing, and like I was doing a more detailed and intricate type of nail art, and usually I do like super like abstract type of stuff, or stuff that doesn't really take a lot of detail or anything. But when I am doing something super detailed like this, I am pretty more focused on doing the nail art rather than making sure I'm in frame and everything is focused. I need to get better on you know, working on making sure I'm in frame and everything is focused when I'm doing this type of nail art. But yeah, it just was being a little too much for me to go back and forth between showing my right hand and showing my left hand. So I do think I only showed me doing the skull on my left hand, and then after, or my right hand, and then after that I just kind of gave up on that. Also, this set took me so long to do. I did this over the span of like 3 days. I sculpted the nails one day, and then the next day I did the I painted all the black bases on, and then the next day is when I went in and did all of the nail art. And I think like the nail art itself took me around like 8-ish hours to do. just because this, like I said, it's a lot more detailed than what I usually do, and I don't often do super detailed stuff like this, mainly because it does take a long time to do these. Also, I was messing up a lot, and I kept having to start over and redo stuff because, like I said, I was messing up. I do have some of those redos left in the video, but I don't have them all left in. Otherwise, this video would be like 6 hours long with all those redos and mistakes. So I did clip a lot of them out, but like I said, I did keep some of them in so you could see that I do mess up quite a bit when doing nail art. Everything's not perfect the first time around. I think I usually do leave in my mistakes and like tell you guys like the mistakes and like how I fixed it and whatever. But yeah, for this it was just way too much to like leave all that in and show you guys and like explain it and everything. So yeah, I just kind of clipped all that out. But yeah, I think that's really all I have to say. Oh, no. With the skull, you are going to see me do some shading and stuff afterwards. Yeah, with this black shading gel. I learned with this set that you can go pretty heavy-handed with the shading gel. I was afraid to go in, like, with a lot of it because I was like, I don't want it to be too dark and it not look right. So I was pretty light-handed with the shading gel. But after top coating it, you'll see later on after I do top coat it, the shading kind of just like disappeared after I top coated it. So if you are using this shading gel, or you're doing like shading on any kind of nail art you're doing, you can go pretty heavy-handed with it, and you probably should go pretty heavy-handed with it. Otherwise, like I said, it's just going to disappear in the end. There are some spots that kind of still are there and you can see, but for the most part, it just like is gone, which was like the most bizarre thing to me. I didn't think that that was going to happen or that that could happen, but I guess because this is kind of like a sheer jelly black and I wasn't really adding a whole lot of pigment, like maybe it just washed out with the clear. I don't really know, but yeah, if you're using this, go heavy-handed with it and add a lot of it to make sure that you're able to see all that shading that you did and you didn't just do all that and it go to waste. But like I said, I'm just going to go ahead, let this play out some, and I will pop in every now and then to let you guys know what I'm doing. So now that I'm done with the skull on the pinky nails, I'm going in and doing like a little coffin shaped present. I'm doing this in like a traditional brown color. I was going to use this other color. It's called Mad Hatter's Mistletoe. I do use it later on in this set, but I was going to use it for this coffin to make it look like it's wrapped in like a green wrapping paper, but it didn't really show up very well on the black, and I didn't really want to lay down a layer of white, so I decided to make the coffin be a brown, like it's made out of wood. So I draw out the coffin, fill that in, and then I take some other shades of brown and do like the wood grain on it. Once I get the base done of the coffin, I do cure for 60 seconds, and then I go in with the other shades of brown to create the wood grain pattern. And then once I get the wood grain pattern on, I do go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. And then I do draw on a black bow onto the coffin, again, to make it look like a present. And then once I get the bow on, I do go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. For the thumbs, I did a little like skeleton gingerbread. So to do the gingerbread, I just kind of did the outline of the body, and kind of got that how I wanted it, and then filled it all in. I did originally try to do the gingerbread a different way, and like I did the body, and then I did like the arms and the legs and then the head, but it just wasn't looking very gingerbread like when I did it like that. So then I switched to doing it like this, and it ended up looking a lot more like a gingerbread like I was wanting it. So once I got it all filled in, cured it for 60 seconds, then I went in with my white liner gel and did like the icing and made it look like he was a little skeleton. And that took me so long to do. Like, I honestly thought it was going to be kind of easy to do this like skeleton icing design on it, but it ended up being a little bit more difficult than I expected. I think the head and like the skull part of it was the hardest part. And then I also struggled for some reason with like the spine and like ribs and then like the pelvis too. But like the bones that I did in the arms and legs were super easy, because I've done those before for like Halloween nails. But yeah, the skull part and the ribs and the pelvis part were a little bit difficult for me. But after I got that all on, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. And I do want to mention that everything that I'm doing, I only put one layer of color down for everything. I am using Ball Pit and Nails by Dev colors, and their polishes are super pigmented, as you can see as I'm using them. You really don't need multiple layers even when doing nail art. Because you know, sometimes with certain gel polishes and certain colors, you do sometimes need multiple layers to get the full coverage there. But with Ball Pit and Nails by Dev, I never have any issues with that, and I don't usually need multiple coats to get full coverage when I'm doing nail art, which is why I really love both of these brands. So for the ombre nails, I really wanted to do something that wasn't going to cover up the icicle part. I really wanted that to still be visible. I didn't really care if it did cover up the black part at all. So I decided for the pointer nail, I was going to do like a holly type of look, but instead of doing the traditional like red berries on it, I decided to make them eyeballs. And you're going to see here, I did do them pretty small, and like everything was cured, and I thought like this was going to be a good size for it. But then once I got it all done, I realized I didn't really like the size of it, so I did end up off camera going in and making it larger. So when you do see it later on in the finished product, you are going to see it's much larger than when I had originally painted it. But for the eyeballs, I'm using the same color that I used for the skull instead of going in with just a plain white color, because I've seen when Maddox does her portraits, or like whenever she does eyes, she says she doesn't do them like a plain pure bright white. She usually makes them a little bit of an off-white because that's a little bit more realistic. So I decided to do that for this set, even though it's not like a portrait and it's just eyeballs on their own. I felt like it would look a little bit better if I did make them a little bit of an off-white rather than the pure white like how I have on the gingerbread. And I do really like how they came out. I feel like they are a little bit more on the realistic side. I mean, they're obviously not super realistic, but I do like how they look more being this kind of off-white color as opposed to like a pure white color. And then for the irises, I did make them red because, again, I am going for more of a spooky themed here. And I felt like red would be like the spookiest kind of color I could do. Also, traditional holly berries are red, so I felt like it tied it all in together. So I am using this jelly red from Ball Pit called Jolly Jelly to do that. I do the irises with it. I also do like the little veining on the eyeballs with it. And also with the, like how I said with the shading gel on the skull, the same thing kind of happened with the veining on the eyeballs here because it is a jelly color and there's not a whole lot of pigment being added, and I went pretty light-handed with the gel polish for the veining to keep them light and thin. Some of them did kind of disappear when I did go in with the top coat, so you don't see as many of those lines after the top coat is applied. And after I got all the red on, I did cure that for 60 seconds, and then I used my black to do the pupil. And then after that, I went in and did the leaves, and for the leaves, I used that green that I mentioned earlier, but like I said, it doesn't show up very well on the black, so I did have to go in with a layer of white to get that green to show up. So to do these leaves, it was a little difficult. It took me a while to figure out how to paint them on, but I figured out the easiest way for me to paint these holly leaves was to do like a normal basic leaf shape and then go in and draw on little triangles coming off of that to get that like spiky leaf look. And that was the best way that I could get these to look like holly leaves. After I got them all done with the white, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds, and then I went in over top with that green. I don't think I showed it at this point. I think I forgot to show it, but it is called Mad Hatter's Mistletoe, and it's from Nails by Dev. It's this really pretty, like, glittery dark green color, and I felt like it would be the perfect color for these leaves, and it really was. And I love the little bit of sparkle that it added onto the set. or onto this little holly design here. And then after I got the green painted on, cured that for 60 seconds, and then I went in with the black to add like the veining onto the leaves, and then I cured that for 60 seconds as well. So for the ring nail, I struggled trying to figure out what to do for this nail because, like I said, I didn't want something that was going to cover the bottom half, like the icicle half of the nail, but I was like, I wasn't really sure what I could do that wasn't going to cover it up. Like, I was thinking of all different kinds of like Christmas themes that I could turn into like a spooky type of something. And I at first was like, oh well, I could do like Christmas lights. And then I was trying to think of like how I could turn the Christmas lights spooky, and I was like, well, I could do like jack-o'-lanterns or like eyeballs or something, but I already did eyeballs, and I was like, I don't know if doing the jack-o'-lanterns is going to I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling the jack-o'-lanterns for it. And then I got the idea to do spiders and have them be like Christmas ornaments or Christmas lights or whatever, and have the like web be up at the top and then them hanging down like they were like, you know, Christmas lights or ornaments or whatever you decide you want them to be. So I did the web, and I didn't do the web like the traditional way to do a spider web, where you do like the curved lines connecting and whatever. I did more of like straight lines and tried to make it be kind of like a more realistic type of spider web, or like spider webs that you see, you know, out in nature. They kind of are more straight. So I kind of went with that type of look. I also felt like it made it look a little more creepy than how spiderwebs are usually drawn. I feel like that's kind of like a cutesy way, and this is kind of a little more creepy of a way to do spiderwebs. And then I cured that for 60 seconds, and I decided to go with 2 spider webs, one hanging down a little bit farther than the other. And as you can see here, I started out with it pretty small, but I did end up wiping that off and making it bigger. But when I did it bigger, I did do it off camera, but I did I did it the exact same way that I am showing I'm doing it here. I just, did it a little bit bigger so that way the spiders were a little more noticeable on the nail, because I felt like when they were this small, like they were kind of getting lost in that ombre. They were also kind of getting lost against the like crackle part that you're seeing there, and I just felt like they needed to be a little bit bigger so they were a little more noticeable. I also ended up turning them into Black Widows, so I added the little hourglass on their backs. I did do it with white at first, and to do that I just did an X and then I drew the lines across to make them into triangles, filled that in, cured that for 60 seconds, and then I went over the white hourglass shape there with the same red that I used for the Santa hat on the skull, filled that all in, and then cured that for 60 seconds. And now for my favorite part of doing nail art is the top coat. I'm using my LGN shiny top coat and just going in and applying that to all of the nails. And once I get that applied, I do cure for 60 seconds. Like I said, I do these 4 nails first, cure that for 60 seconds, then do my thumb separately. And like I said, top coating is my absolute favorite part of doing nails. You really, like, the top coat just brings it all together, and it really just like enhances the nail art. It's so weird. Like, before you top coat it, you're looking at your nail art and you're like, this looks so bad and it doesn't look right and it just looks like a mess. But then once you top coat it, it's like magic. It like smooths everything out and makes everything look so nice, and like blends everything together and just makes it look nice and smooth. And it, like I said, it just makes everything look so much better once you get the nails top coated. And it's just my absolute favorite part. I love top coating and seeing like the nail art just come to life after that. And this is the finished result. I did apply my cuticle oil off camera, but this is what the nails look like, and I'm super happy with them. They came out so good. I absolutely love them. And this clear acrylic is so clear. I had absolutely no air bubbles in it either. I know on these icicle nails you can kind of see some air bubbles there. That is from the rhinestone glue and like scrunching it all together. But in the acrylic itself, there were no air bubbles, and like I said, it is so clear. And I'm super like pleased with it. I have used this acrylic before in one of my previous videos, like when I first got it and like tested it out, and was super happy with how clear it is. But like this clear is so clear. But like I said, I'm super happy with this set. You can definitely tell that my right hand was painted with my non-dominant hand, but it still came out really well. And like I said, I'm super happy with it. I've been laughing at these gingerbread since I've painted this set, because the one on my left hand, it looks like a normal gingerbread. And then the one on my right hand is like this skinny gingerbread. I keep saying like that gingerbread went on Ozempic and lost some weight. That's my Ozempic gingerbread man. But I absolutely love this set. I will say, with the these icicle nails, if you do this design, make sure you always have one of those like nail scrubber brushes on hand, because you are going to have to be washing your hands a lot because you're going to realize how much stuff gets stuck up under your nails, and you're going to have to go scrub them real good to get all that out. I mean, you should be having those on hand anyhow, especially if you do long extensions, so you can, you know, when you wash your hands, clean underneath of there. That should just be like what you do in general anyhow to keep good hygiene. But especially when you have like these icicle nails or like some sort of texture going on underneath the nail, you definitely want to make sure that you are having them. You are also going to have to be washing your hands a lot more than you usually do, probably, because like I said, you're going to realize a bunch stuff gets stuck under there a lot more than you would think, especially now because you have all these little crevices and pockets where stuff can get stuck in them. So if that's going to be something that annoys you, I don't recommend doing a design like that because you're just going to be annoyed the entire time you're wearing these nails and you're going to want to take them off super quickly. But if that's something that doesn't bother you, then, you know, by all means, have fun with it. Wear them like that. But I absolutely, like I said, love these nails. I love all the glitter on it. This black glitter, I was wanting something that was going to give like Christmas lights twinkling in the back, and I feel like this really did it because it looks like it's nighttime and all those Christmas lights are just twinkling super bright and like shining at night, and it just really, it also gives like that spooky feel because it's black, and I feel like it really helps tie in the entire set. And then the sparkle on the Santa hat and the leaves as well as on the hourglasses on the spiders. I'm just super happy with this set, and it did take me a long time to do, but it came out so well, and I'm super happy with it. I absolutely love how they look under the flash, where you can really see all those like rainbow sparkles in there on that black hollow color. So pretty. This is definitely my favorite Christmas set that I have ever done, solely just because it is like a spooky themed type of set, and I absolutely love anything kind of spooky. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.